should we do this Neil deGrasse Tyson thing, or am I? Yeah,
Did a new movie about space come out that he wants to ruin,
dude,
it hasn't been 2014 in a long time. I didn't know if people were still like messing with Neil deGrasse.
I'll tell you.
Is it an opportunity for me to talk about Elon Musk?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
so
let's do it.
While casting shade. Speaking of 2014,
I saw this tweet and I responded to it, and then I saw a bunch of like other lefties were responding to it as well. Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeted this out. While casting shade on Elon Musk for what he's done, is doing, or will do, try to pause. All right. Try to pause and remember that he made electric cars a normal thing in society. All right. Okay. Well, okay. We'll get to that in a second.
Much for a scientist.
For profit motive, and also like was trying to make them exclusive, the charging stations exclusive to him for profit. And now he's seeing that that's falling away, and that's why he's getting desperate with Twitter, because other car companies are integrating electric cars. But beside the point, this part is the weirdest part for me. Saying it like it's a good thing. And he commercialized space for cargo, satellites, and people. Count him among those who are inventing civilization's future. And he said commercialized space like it's a good thing. It's one thing for the scientific community to be rightly incredibly excited about space exploration. I find space exploration exciting. I think that it was done well when it was funded by the state. And since then, since it's been privatized, mostly what it has been, yes, commercialization, where private entities like SpaceX and Starlink and whatever are making this their new frontier so that capitalists can corner the market on scientific exploration in this very exciting area. And it's a shame to me that one of like the leading people alive, when people think of a scientist, they'll think of Neil deGrasse Tyson, is promoting commercialization in the name of scientific innovation as something that is aspirational, as opposed to really depressing that science is at the whims of a psycho like this. And that there is really no future for the rest of us in that area because it's been commercialized and enclosed by one of the wealthiest people on the planet. That's depressing, not exciting.
Yeah, I mean, enclosure is
absolutely
the key word. You go ahead, Binder.
No, I was just gonna say absolutely spot on. I mean, also the idea of him, like the part about Tesla, where he made it. He made what was the exact quote? He made electric
cars a normal thing in society.
What does that even mean? A normal thing in society?
Yeah,
that's not even a way to frame it. I mean, if you want to look at what he's done, even at that standpoint. If you look at the emissions he puts out there with his private jet that we know about because of accounts like Elon Jet, if you look at his Bitcoin, Tesla's own Bitcoin investments, there was a study when Tesla bought all those Bitcoin last year that found that Tesla's Bitcoin investment basically wiped out any environmental positives that Tesla had put out there. Like literally the amount of Bitcoin they purchased in terms of the emissions from the mining of these Bitcoins and everything, it basically erased any sort of green energy savings that Tesla had done with all of the cars they sold. And then you look at, his travels, like I said. I mean, this is a guy who has portrayed himself exactly as Neil deGrasse Tyson is portraying him, and Neil deGrasse Tyson has bought it hook, line, and sinker. I mean, this isn't who Elon Musk actually is. He sold himself as this great savior of humanity when in reality, anyone who believes that, just even if he says it, is just ridiculous. There's going to be no single individual who can do that. It's going to take society as a whole to come together and do the things that we need to do to save us from any sort of climate catastrophe. And that's something that needs to be spearheaded by world governments, because no company, no individual, no matter how rich they are, has the power to actually make that difference. And to believe that Elon Musk, of all people, is that person, I mean, we already know who Elon Musk is. Now we're learning who Neil deGrasse Tyson is.
Yeah, well, we've kind of also slowly been learning about Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Right.
But like
it sounded nice to say it that way.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't want to get in the way of your poetry, but the thing is, like, I have a real problem with that. Like, first of all, General Motors made an electric vehicle between 1996 and 1999. People can go into Who Killed the Electric Car documentary for that. I mean, one theory is like investor sort of into fossil fuels, but that's what people can go into the documentary for the back for. But like the Honda Insight also existed. Like what Elon did was basically make it something that investors thought that they could get in on early and make a whole bunch of money on. That's the normalization that he did.
Yeah, I think Elon's best quality is selling himself as like a celebrity scientist, celebrity billionaire, and people are really only interested in the celebrity part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the scientist part, the billionaire part are like the parts that people find like aspirational, but you know, at least in like the material sense. But it's the celebrity part that like leads a lot of people to defend him. But from my perspective, you know, Teslas, they're not that great. You know, obviously they're always having issues with their AI. I think a new story came out where like one caused the 8-car pileup recently in San Francisco, which, you know, you hear stories like that all the time. You know, he's experimenting. You know, even if he did make, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, even if he did make like Teslas or like electric vehicles cool amongst a certain subsect of our population that didn't think it was cool already, you know, okay, good for him. Same with space travel, people who otherwise wouldn't have thought it was cool. It's like the idea, and I think this is prevalent in our society too, especially with, you know, cancel culture being like the, you know, the albatross of the public intellectual, public official, is the idea like, you know, if you become famous like for anything, you know, you no longer have the burden of having to, you know, at least try to get people to like you. It's like people didn't like Teslas because of something that they were offering better than other electric vehicles at the time, you know, because except for maybe the auto driving part, and a lot of those were sold on lies, and we know the Tesla's value was intrinsically attached to Elon Musk's celebrity stature, and now that more people are getting to know what kind of person he is, they don't like him as much. And whenever that happens to celebrities, like a bunch of celebrities circle the wagon and make it seem like you're not allowed to change your mind about somebody. Like people aren't allowed. Like if I ever become like super famous for like, you know, people liking me or whatever, like I no longer have the burden after a certain point to like still be liked by people. I just get to be around, you know, and people just have to deal with it. It's like, well, you know, he's running a business that is now seems like it's not doing very well because more people are acquainted with the fact that he's not very scientifically literate, you know, at least in code, and he's not a very good business person. And we have companies like Ford and Hyundai and other like, you know, affordable sedan makers making electrical vehicles. And then we also have higher end luxury brands like Ferrari and Lamborghini and like, you know, probably Rolls Royce and like all the typical things people have heard of, Audi, making luxury electric vehicles. And then we have other companies making real driverless AI piloting vehicles, and he's not doing any of that stuff particularly very well. And so he's probably going to get boxed out of the market unless he, you know, now that his celebrity stature is falling apart too. Like,
and the self-driving thing and AI I think is really key as well, because this is something that he's been doing for a while. That's been the white whale that he has, I guess, advertised for his investors. It has driven more people into like seeing a future in Tesla, where the technology, based on a lot of reporting on it, is nowhere near the place where it is advertised to be. And so that was, I think, probably it should be an indicator for people where this was going with Tesla, or it should have been, because that was his desperate attempt to drive up Tesla's stock price. And then he attempted here with Twitter in order to like increase his celebrity stature and do the same kind of thing as that technology that you describe, Brandon, is rolling out with, like, you know, Mercedes, Porsche coming out with their own electric vehicles. He feels the walls closing in, and these are these desperate attempts that should be mocked and not lionized by people like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Also, can I just say, sorry to interrupt you, Brandon, not to pull a Tim Pool here and reference a Marvel movie, but I don't know if you guys recall in the first Iron Man, Tony Stark is at a congressional committee hearing, and he's asked something by like a stuffy senator being like, why do you think you can take care of our country's national security more than we can? And he goes, it's simple. I've just privatized world peace. Yeah. And I found that statement so fascinating in the context of this, as if it's similar to me in the sense that DeGrasse Tyson sees that as like a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that version of Tony Stark, before he realizes when he gets kidnapped in the Middle East and that his own missiles are supplying the terrorists without his knowledge, that they're the dangers of such a thing, that Neil deGrasse Tyson really seemingly didn't really learn the lesson of the movie.
You know, it sounds
perfect
cute,
you brought that. It's perfect you brought that movie up too, because Elon Musk actually makes a cameo in Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
yes, that's right. At the Monaco Grand Prix,
as like sort of trying to portray him as like in the same sort of category as the Tony Starks of the world.
He's Mickey Rourke's stunt
go ahead,
double.
Brandon. Yeah,
I was gonna say. You probably it's so quick you miss
Mickey
it.
Rourke's stunt double.
And it's so quick you miss it. In some situations, if you pause the frame, you just see like Elon Musk in a terrible wig and like really bad like fake prison tattoos. But go ahead, finish your thought.
I will say that like it's amazing that like all those extras that he added to Teslas is seen as like a positive to some people, like the AI stuff and the big monitor screen in the front and all the little perks and all the stuff that makes it. Yeah, because if anything, like imagine if that first big electric vehicle company actually focused on affordability, just focused on the green aspect and made the most affordable electric vehicle without all these bells and whistles and put it out there and made it cool and made it popular. A lot more people would be driving them. Like he made it into a luxury vehicle. So I think there's actually a lot of people who connect electric vehicles with luxury vehicles when that shouldn't be the case. All those extras aren't necessary. Tesla should be selling for well under like $20K, and yet it's like the entry for a Tesla is like over $50,000. It's if he really cared, there would have been at least one model of Tesla that was absolutely like one of the most affordable cars on the market to show people what this could be like. But he didn't care to do that because it was all about the money and all about the notoriety of like the cool bells and whistles. The AI driving thing was definitely a priority to him, well over any idea of like being a green company.
Well, I mean, people probably forget now, but going back, I think, early 2017, 2018, or some like few years ago, he was saying how like you'll be able to like send your driverless Tesla out to do Uber trips by itself and make money that way. Like the kind of promises he was making about the AI technology early in Tesla were incredibly, grandiose. And I think, now like to the point about the cars, I'm sure what he would say is that like Tesla's not a car company, because that's the classic excuse for why like your thing is not selling very well. He would say Tesla is like an AI driverless company or like an energy producing company, but it doesn't seem like it does those things that well either. No. Comparatively to like companies that specialize in those things. It just seems like he's just trying to make the world's coolest company, a la Iron Man. Like I remember when he was making flamethrowers and like doing that kind of stupid shit too. And I think it's probably caught up to him. Yeah. Tech stocks have generally been overpriced for a while now. Stock was overpriced in comparison to other car companies. It was, if you want to compare it to other tech companies like Apple and, Amazon, I would say why? It certainly is not doing the kind of like broad spectrum of business that they're doing. And, Elon Musk just doesn't seem to be very good at business because, if you're going to buy an advertising platform, while you're also running, other businesses, you have to imagine that a lot of the advertisers that are competitors of your other business aren't going to want to run ads on like Twitter. Like, so companies like Ford, companies like, Audi that would normally run more car ads on the website will stop. So like, he doesn't seem to be a very good businessman or very, very good scientist, but he is a very good aspirational figure for people who want to imagine themselves as reaching a certain level of, I think, attainment that allows them to go like, fuck you to everybody. Like, I don't need to be, I don't need to worry about my competitors in business. I don't need to worry about like, public opinion. I can just like act unilaterally because like the government can't stop me, a la Iron Man. But like, that's just not the way the world works. People like resist it when it happens to like even the shittiest of celebrities like Kanye. They want to make excuses for, because, everyone imagines that one day they'll get like a lottery ticket and then they can say fuck you to the, their boss in the world. And you certainly can. You just can't also run a business while doing that, obviously.
Yeah. Right. I love when
Just to
people
correct
are
the
like,
record,
"Oh, he's
I'm sorry, guys. That the privatized world peace quote and the Elon cameo were both in Iron Man 2. And and
I'm
Tony
glad
Stark,
we got that
And Tony Stark getting kidnapped in the Middle
clarified.
East was the first Iron Man.
Yes.
I was getting
There
a
we
lot
go.
of hate in the YouTube
I mean,
chat, so just need to correct the record.
I'm glad you brought that up because I mean that's who like his his sycophants, his simps, they all say like, oh, Elon Musk is like the real life Tony Stark just without the Iron Man suit. Well, guess what? Tony Stark is fucking lame without the Iron Man suit. Who gives a shit about Tony Stark? He's an a-hole. The whole point is the Iron Man suit. So without that, I mean, you could continue that comparison. I guess it's spot on.
Also, I mean, Tony Stark would tell you that without the suit, he's still like a genius, and like Elon Musk can't even seem to run like a social media website profitably.
Yeah. Nope.
Like he had to invent like square avatars, piss yellow check marks. It's just not like. I know Iron Man iterates on like different versions of his suit like every week, but this is not that.